I had a Dr. Ho device for maybe 8 or 10 years and carried it around on my belt for a long time and wound up losing it a couple days back. And I was really bummed out about that because I mean it wasn't cheap back then. I bought it; it was more than $120. I think it was a basic unit, but it was still pretty expensive. Just before I lost it, I bought myself like for $13 all these replacement pads that were specific to that Dr. Ho, and I thought, oh great, now what am I going to do? I've got all these pads and no machine to hook them onto, so I had to make sure that they were going to, whatever I chose as a replacement was going to work. So I went looking on Amazon and I came up with this unit, and I just wanted to tell you about this, kind of some of the good points about it and what I liked about it. First off, the original Dr. Ho I bought was about $120. So it's pretty pricey, right? Even 8 or 10 years ago, it cost a lot of money. And it was a little tiny box about, half the size of a cigarette package, and you hook some wires onto it, and that was about it. This one here I found on Amazon, I wound up getting for $51. And what I really liked about it right off the bat was a nice big solid case, of course, which isn't the end of the world, but it's an investment in protecting it. The other thing I found out about it was made in the U.S. And not that many things are made in the U.S. anymore. And, I kind of like that whole concept of not having to buy it from China. So I got this thing and I opened it up when I received it. And I'll be honest with you, I was really super impressed. You get a bunch of things inside. I mean, you get replacement pads and that type of thing. But the unit itself, this is a really slick little unit. First off, this is incredibly heavy. For a little tiny package like this has got a lot of weight to it, which tells me that it's solid and it's built well. And like I said, it was built in the US. So if we take a look at the top of the unit, it comes with a bunch of dials, actually two dials, which give you a variety of different strength setting. It's a 2-channel, which means I can put a wire in one side, one in another, and I can have a total of up to 4 different pads giving me stimulation at a time, which is great. And this will control the intensity of it. So it's got a really nice little cover that protects it so you don't do it by accident, change the settings by accident. On the front end here, it's got settings that have to do with the intensity of it and the time and that type of thing, and the different types of stimulation that it can give you, because in essence you're giving yourself an electrical shock, right? So this is really convenient to have that. The other thing I liked is on the back of this is a heavy duty belt clip. The reason that I lost my Dr. Ho in the first place was the crappy little belt clip that was on there. And I kept having to fix with a piece of tape because it just kept breaking over and over again. So there's really no surprise that I lost the silly thing because the belt clip was kind of useless, right? So I'm back to having a new one now. Like I said, this one landed to me at about $51, $52. I think regular it might be 58 or something to that effect, but I got a deal on it that week on Amazon. And so you get this unit, which is really a good solid unit. You get 2 sets of wires, okay? And what was really important to me was a couple things here. The ends of these wires, this is what they call 2 mil, and they're very thin, a very thin, rigid connecting point. And why is that important to me as a 2 mil? Because it fits the Dr. Ho's replacement pads that I bought, because I have a whole bunch of these. And I didn't want to be stuck with these and wind up with a proprietary pin on the new device. So I was thrilled that these just plug in there. So now I've got, the amount that came with the unit, plus probably, I think there's another 48 replacement pads here of various sizes that I can use because I've got a pin connection that actually works. So if you're going to look at a TENS machine, get one that has common replacement pad sizes. Some of them are very specific, some of these connectors, and they don't work on all units. So you want to make sure that what you get, those pads are easy to get, because if you use the unit a lot, you're going to go through a lot of pads. In this case, this particular one came with 4 good size replacement pads, and you can see by the female end on here that it was meant to take that 2 mil plug and push in together like that. So they're a good replacement for the pads that I have, and they come with 4 as it is. Other than an instruction book and a few things to do with warranty, it's a pretty standard package. If you're not familiar with a TENS machine, which is what this is called, it gives you electrical shocks, stimulation to help you get over pain, muscle pain, and a variety of other different pains. So a lot of people find relief in it, and some don't find any relief at all. So if it's something that you're looking at doing, you may want to make sure that wherever you get it, you can return it if it doesn't work for you. And Amazon's a perfect place for that, because I think you have 7 or 10 days after you get it to try it. If you don't like it, you can send it back. The one thing that I do like about it, again, is the fact that it is American made. Here's some thought process that is really just brilliant. What happens if I break this cable? Where will I get these cables? Do I have to go look all over Amazon for it? What'll happen? Well, actually, no. They've got this little tiny tag on here with a slow scan code. And you take your phone and you scan it, and it takes you right to the place where you need to order your cable. That's brilliant, right? I don't have to look around. The same thing for their replacement pads. They've got a scan code on the package on the back here, which takes you right to where you need to buy the pads from. They're cheap. They're easy to get, they ship quickly, and they're a very common denominator when it comes to the connection size on here, okay? One thing I found using a TENS machine, and everybody's got a different experience, is you can certainly peel them off and put them on you, and they stick on you right away, and you can plug them in, and that's fine and dandy. But I'm not really a big fan of doing it just that way. I'll tell you what I do, is as I peel them off, I have myself a little jar of water, and I dip my fingers in, and I rub water on here for a minute, and then I stick it on. And why do I do that? Because I find that it gives a much better connection for the electrical stimulation to happen. It pulls off nice and easy when you're done. And what you do is, when you're ready to put these away, you never want to touch this an awful lot because you wear out the stickiness. You put water back on it again, and as you're putting it away, and then you put it back onto the backing that came with the pad. So you've got a clear backing here. And what happens is, when you go to pull these off the next time, the glue is still smooth, and it doesn't look like it's been pulled apart, so it's going to make it last a whole lot longer, okay? So that's just a tip that works for me. It may not work for you. So what this comes down to is, if you're looking for a TENS machine, there's a whole bunch of different kinds available. I will link to this particular one. It's called a TENS 7000. There's others. There's a bunch of vendors of this, so it doesn't matter who you really buy it from. But it's a good, solid product, and I wanted to pass it on to you because I know I've talked to people before where I've seen people asking if anybody had secondhand units for sale, and then I hear, I've got one here for $60 and that kind of thing. It's like, really? You can get a new one for less than $60. So it's really just a heads up. Hopefully you don't need a TENS machine, because if you do use one, that means you've got some pain, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But I'm getting old. I'm starting to feel it in my joints and in my back, and this gives me a heck of a lot of relief. So if you're into it, go to Amazon, check the link out, and hopefully this will give you some pain relief. Thanks, and we'll see you around the neighborhood. Take care.